If you're wearing Outlaws...
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Nest. As usual, it is me, Rainbow, joined by Silent Marine, Misfit, and Hyper Knight. Sorry, I was meant to do something else there, but whatever. It's fine. Let's go.
Nice.
Win.
Nice.
It's fine.
Incredible.
I'm Scuff Toast. We know this.
You did well last week.
Yeah. We're gonna be talking about the championships here, and just generally what's happened so far and what we predict will be happening going forward. So yeah, let's get into minors first here.
But actually,
oh
before
yes,
we...
oh yes.
All right,
that's
yeah,
a-
before we get
Let's
into this... Hold on, my mic's a bit loud. Before we get into that, can we just address something that happened on broadcast this
I
week?
don't know what
Oh,
you're possibly
can we?
talking about.
Can we?
All right.
Do we have
well,
to?
we'll see. This was during one of the semis where the two teams decided to play a bonus fourth goats map, and something happened on the broadcast. Let's just play it.
I feel like you're hyping this up a lot, and it's a little anticlimactic, but okay.
I don't understand how people didn't like goats. I'm gonna be honest. Okay, if you're a DPS player, I get it. You know, you're whiny, you can't get headshots,
You
but
say this every time, and every time it comes down to the fact that I am a DPS player and I hated goats, and the only reason I did good in it is because I was a Sombra one trick for 4 seasons.
I know it's horrible. You're a horrible person, but I'm just saying for tanks and supports, the most valid people in Overwatch, it was a lot of
Wow.
fun.
Wow. That's... I can't just leave the cast and leave you to solo cast this. If you
Oh, I can
prefer
do it.
that, Rainbow.
I'll carry it. It's fine.
Was it worth it,
So,
Rainbow?
I
Rainbow.
still stand by what I said. I still stand by what I said.
Well, to be fair, he is kind of right, because Goats was always tank and support. But we're playing 2-2-2 now, so it doesn't count for playoffs.
I'm just saying, tanks and supports are more valid than Sombra players.
Don't tell me
you're wrong. You're wrong, and that's okay. But you're wrong, and that's all I have really.
Well, at least you're not
wrong.
super. Well, do you remember when Super ranted so hard about Sombra? Calls everyone a dishonest player. You
Yeah,
don't
I know.
think it's
Yeah,
that bad, do you?
The Surefour thing where he's like,
Well, I'm mad because we lost to Sombra. Sombra's a dishonest hero. Well.
God, I don't know if we can
That's
count
you,
that.
Rainbow.
Oh my god.
Super complains about literally everything.
that's
Calls
true.
everything
That's so
dishonest.
true.
It's so true.
Like I like,
Well, I mean,
I like
it
the guy. He's a good main tank, but boy does he complain about
Yeah.
everything on the planet.
My man's got the maturity of a prepubescent mosquito.
What does that even mean?
It means he's extremely immature. Is that not implied?
I mean, it is implied. Just the analogy made no sense there.
What do you mean? That's I thought it was great. All right, screw you.
Well, Goats
Oh,
is
whatever.
Goats is definitely a thing. Even Owl acknowledged it.
Oh yeah, they
Yes.
have that brig skin.
They have
coming
that new
out.
now they have that new brig skin.
That's awful. That's so
Bu-
foul.
Buying it
But
instantly.
I'm gonna be buying it though. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
jeez.
not. Are you joking, dude? This thing looks disgusting. Like the color
Looks
scheme
great.
on that is.
I'm
Awful.
gonna
It is a
buy
little
if it's
weird.
limited time, and I know I'll feel bad if I don't buy it. So.
I don't play brig though, because she's
A dishonest hero.
No, of course.
No, I
Nah.
don't play Brig either, so.
I mean, Brig is the Goat's hero, so
she is. She is.
Anyway, let's go
Yeah,
back. Let's get back
track.
on topic since we've ranted about goats so much.
Yes. So getting into minors here, let's kind of go through the various games and talk about them a little bit. So we had Dumpster Divers versus Congregation, which was 3-1 favor of Dumpster Divers. Misfit, what do you kind of have to say about that game?
I mean, I didn't watch it, but going based off of previous interactions between those teams and just what I know about each team, I don't think anyone really expected Congregation to win. I think like Congregation, and I said this in my article, I think Congregation's DPS line rivals like the top three teams. I think Baby Bun and Vicrossy are both outstanding players. I think Baby Bun especially like is one of the best DPS in minors. Um, and I really thought that was something that they really, really had to play around. But I think it comes down to Dumpster Divers is way more consistent throughout the lineup. I felt like Congregation falters in its support and tank line a lot. Like I feel like their DPS line's really good, but their support and tank line are kind of just like okay, they're all right. Not bad by any means. I mean, they beat us in stage one, so I can't really call them bad. It'd be dishonest. But
Yeah.
Dumpster
Nah.
Divers is just much more consistent throughout the lineup. They don't have any like really, really big carry players. They're kind of just all pretty good. So that was I feel like that was kind of expected that Dumpster Divers would win out, but Congregation's still able to take a map off of them. So, pretty
Yeah.
good, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely one of the longer or the longest finals game so far in minors. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Every other game's been a 3-0.
That's true. The entire playoffs have been 3-0s.
Yeah, no. Both Peppermint Twist and Kraken Skulls in their respective losses kind of got swept pretty hard. They were I mean, you
Yeah.
hate to see it, but that's kind of the stories of minors this season is that there were just like a few teams on top that were just way better than everyone else.
Yeah, speaking of kind of moving on to Kraken Skull's Peppermint Twist, it was a 3-0. I think Peppermint Twist had like a semi-decent showing, but you can tell they fell a lot. We just looking at the scores from stage 3, they fell a lot there. We were hoping that maybe they'd make a comeback and put up a good fight here, but Kraken Skulls got that 3-0 and had a pretty good showing there.
Yeah, I mean, so the maps were like somewhat close, but it was pretty clear that Chaos was in control the whole time. I did like that Chaos kind of played musical chairs and made it work. They used pretty much every part of their lineup in a different way, and I thought it was really cool to see because a lot of teams don't do that.
Yeah, something I always appreciate about Kraken Skulls is that they play everyone.
They do, and they I feel like that does come down to they have a lot of like specialist type players. Like they don't really have any like flex gods, if you will. Like you have your extremely flexible players like Baby Bond or Justice Seaman. But like I don't feel like Kraken Schools has any of that. They just have like a couple of really really specialized players. I did say this was the first time I believe I got to see like Muddy Snaps and Regulus, and I was both very impressed by the way they performed. I think I went so far as to say that Muddy Snaps was up there with Blatman as
You
far
did.
as like being a good Sigma, which is really unfortunate that I don't think he played any Sigma against OOs.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but speaking of that OO's game, last game to review here in minors, it was a 3-0 for Ohio, and not in a rude way, but Ohio dominated because they are the Ohio OOs. They've been purely dominant, especially in the past 2 stages. There's not a lot to say. it's Ohio.
They're the clear favorites in this. They're the clear
Yeah.
favorites in the community bracket.
There's like no one like the closest game in the playoffs, and I've talked about this with just about everyone. I think at this point, the closest game in the minors playoffs is going to be Happy Squids versus Dumpster Divers. So please don't
For
miss
sure.
that one. That's going to be on Monday, and that will be a pretty close game. But the Ohio, whoever wins that game, I don't see them beating Ohio. Like no one has come close to doing it since Peppermint Twist did it back in stage 1. You had the Happy Squids game where they were up 2-0, but they got reverse swept. So like I can only say that was so close because you look at like the 4th map Gibraltar in that series where Ohio just absolutely clobbered them. And like Justice Seaman got like 95% of the final blows on that map. And it's like even when they're down 2-0, they still adapt, they still adjust. And like that's just the story of their team is they're just way better at adapting to what the enemy team is doing. and other teams in this division aren't as good at that. So that's one of the big reasons why O's is the favorite, and that's why they're going to win minors.
I think between, well, like, yeah, of all the matches, I'm pretty sure I said this last week. Of all the matches, Happy Squids, Dumpster Divers will probably be the biggest fight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's kind of hard to like make a decision on who could beat OOs the most, because I look at Happy Squids and that's who I want to favor in that. But with Pop Lots missing, it's harder for me to give the edge to them, and I have to give it to
Yeah.
Dumpsters. But last time those two teams met up, Dumpsters in Ohio, it was Ohio just on top. So it's I'm hoping that one of these teams is able to pull it out. But yeah, in that Dumpster versus Happy Squids matchup, it's going to be very close. It's hard to really give an edge to either team, honestly.
Right?
really-
Yeah, it is. I'm gonna show the community bracket just for a minute. It's
Okay.
pretty much in line with what's been going on right now. The only thing that's probably close is Happy Squids versus Dumpster Divers. This is a bit tenuous, but I put Happy Squids in for it because at least that's how I interpreted the results. But I think between those two, it could go either way.
Yeah, I think in terms of like who people are rooting for, I think Happy Squids is there, but I think some people, in terms of who they think is going to win, kind of give the edge to Dumpster Divers. So yeah, definitely going to be a very hype match there.
Yeah, I that one I feel like could go either way. I'm expecting a 3-2, but I don't really know who's going to win. I want to give the edge to Dumpster Divers because we don't know if Pop Lots is going to be there. And I again, like, Pop Lots is just too good of a player for me to just be like, oh yeah, that probably won't hurt Happy Squids.
Pop
Like,
Lots
no,
is in chat.
He's an insane support player. You can't just like not play. You can't just not have him
Yeah.
and still be fine. Like,
I'm excited to
Yeah.
see what we get out of Blazing Angel though. And see how she's able to perform, kind of replacing Pop Lots for that game. But yeah.
I mean, yeah, losing one of your top players definitely makes it significantly more difficult to compete at a high level, because not only does that, is the person stepping in like they have shoes to fill talent wise, but they also, the synergy is kind of broken up because you get used to playing in that 6-person group. So it's
Yeah.
gonna be a problem on both fronts. So we'll have to see how the team responds.
Yeah. But with that, I think we can move on here to our guests. And we have here with us Baby Bun from Congregation and Muddy Stamps from Kraken Skulls. How are you two doing?
Good. Howdy.
Howdy. Pretty good.
got some Cowboys in the chat, boys.
The best kind,
Yeah, partner.
kind of people.
I thought those were tanks and sports.
Listen, it's everyone. Also, these are okay. Well, Baby Bun's a DPS, but
Yeah.
we love them anyway.
An amazing DPS though.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, see, that's the problem, Misfit. You just need to get good. All in good fun. I still love you, Misfit. But so yeah, we have a couple questions for you here. Because both of your teams are eliminated, we kind of wanted to have a bit of a chat with you guys. So just over how well did you think your team did this season? I'll start with Baby Bun.
You know, we don't have the good records that like teams like Ohio Owos, Happy Squids, Dumpster Divers, Kraken Skulls have. But, I think overall, we did pretty good with what we have. We had a bit of roster hiccups like in the beginning, but like once we started, going, we just kept improving and had some really fun games, had some really close ones too. And yeah, overall I'm happy with what we achieved throughout the season.
Yeah, it's nice to hear.
Yeah, I thought you
Uh,
guys did pretty well. I remember your name especially because on Peppermint Twist in stage 1, you were kind of the big name that stuck out in the kill feed against us because you popped off on every character that you played, and it was really frustrating trying to deal with you because we couldn't. But
You're welcome for that.
thank you. Thank you very much.
Via my steps, I'd love to hear like how well you think your season went.
I think we definitely. I mean, I think what we were 9-9 or something like that. Like we in the finals, we were definitely consistent, and we had some good fights within us. I'm pretty proud of us, especially as I said. I think in the Peppermint Twist interview, if we lose against whoever we lose against, if we keep our comms and keep our energy the same way we were against Peppermint Twist, it's not a loss. That's what happened in our Ohio game. We did our best. We stayed very clean and consistent throughout the game, never really tilted. It was just they were just a better team. So I'm really proud of us as a whole.
That's nice to hear as well.
Yeah, and I'll say in that game too, it was definitely a 3-0, but they also had to pull some kind of miracle plays more than once to round. Like I think at our on the well match, we had Agathon get 2 quick picks, and we're like, "Oh yes, this one's us," and then immediately 2 of us got halted off the map, and it was like, "No!" Like
I realized had some fat pulls. And,
yeah, like that happened twice on us where we had the quick lead and then it immediately got dashed. Same thing on Kings Row. We looked like we had that point A, and then all of a sudden a Hanzo 4Ks us as the last player on their team. Like it's just, some miracle plays happen for sure, and that was awesome. It wasn't fun in the moment, but it's kind of awesome to look back at and be like, they had to pull some stops on us. So that was cool.
yeah, sure, for sure.
Yeah. My next big question for you guys. Well, we'll do it in reverse order this time. What are your kind of takeaways from this season and future plans, either for you individually as a player or what your team plans to do moving forward?
And you wanted me to start with that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, can you repeat that question?
Sorry, it's a bit of a two-parter. So, what are your takeaways from the season of Outlet, and what are your future plans moving forward from here, either as a player or as a team?
Cool. So I will say this is my first ever like organized kind of game ever I've played. So that was really fun and rewarding to be picked up by a team pretty quickly and gotten to find. It feels like finally after buying Overwatch and playing it for like 2 years, I finally got to play Overwatch how it was intended to be played. Like I'm
Yeah.
not talking about solo queuing Reinhardt anymore. I'm talking about like an actual organized game.
I feel that.
So that was really rewarding for me. I loved the experience. I'm addicted. I want to keep playing, league games and keep playing with teams. We do have plans. We're still kind of chit chatting around. I know that everyone's a little burnt out right now, so we're gonna kind of pump the brakes on doing any kind of team stuff. But we have been kind of starting to mill around a little bit about continuing as a team and trying some more.
Would you ever want to? This is probably thinking a bit too ahead, but would you ever consider trying for Open Division?
Honestly, I don't even know what Open Division is, but if it's
Yikes.
another
Tier 3
tournament game,
Overwatch.
what was that?
Tier 3 Overwatch.
Tier 3 Overwatch compared
Okay.
to Owl.
That's like
Yeah.
tier 6 Overwatch, honestly. but-
Gotcha. I mean, maybe if I could build up to it, I'd love to keep playing in these kinds of league style games because, as I said, it's kind of how Overwatch was meant to be played in my head. So I would love to keep playing for stuff like that.
Nice.
Good. Nice. And Baby Bun, kind of, what's your answer? I can repeat the question if you need.
Okay, so my takeaways from this season is just like we'll see. So this is like my first like time like playing DPS in an organized team because I used to be a main tank.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, right.
You have mechanical skill and you used to be a main tank?
Why the switch?
Okay. So when I played main tank, it was like middle of Goats era, and like, I had a lot of fun as playing the Reinhardt in
Yeah.
that. Just because I got to take charge and like really like be like really aggressive. And then when like Goats Meta started like kind of going down, like getting less popular, I wasn't enjoying it as much. And then like the team that I was part of, their name was Killfeed. We were in OTC. We ended up sort of like fizzling out. Um, and I was like teamless for a while, and so I came across my coaches looking for player posts for congregation. I was like, fuck it, let's just try out for DPS here. And yeah, then I played DPS, and here I am today, just being a big old Chad bun.
Casual 5Ks.
Yeah.
It's nothing.
Yeah, it's nothing. And as for plans for the future, congregation is definitely like we're staying together. We're gonna keep playing. Whenever the next season Outlet starts, I'm pretty confident we're gonna play again. In the meantime, I think we might try to find some like smaller tournaments. Like I think the C3 tournament is coming up. I might talk to them about that. And yeah, like, and we are gonna lose some players, but uh, we'll be able to find some great players to take their stead, and overall, I think the future of congregation is gonna be pretty bright.
Nice. That's
Nice.
good to
Yep.
hear.
I always
That's
love
good
to
to
hear that. Yeah.
And the last thing I think we want to get is probably just want to get your reactions to the playoffs and your prediction for the finals. So we started off with Muddy Stats for the last one. Let's go with Baby Gun for this one. What's kind of your reaction to how the playoffs have panned out, and what do you think is going to happen for the Happy Squids Dumpster Divers game and the winner of that versus OOs?
Okay, so like in terms of Happy Squids versus Dumpster Divers, you know, Poplots, of course, like not being there is probably going to be a little bit of a handicap to Happy Squids, but I don't know. I think like the monstrous DPS duo of Hawk and the King, like I think I think that'll definitely still be like a big thing for Dumpster Divers to watch out for. And like both of them, I know they're just gonna play their heart out, and I'm so excited to see how that goes. And in terms of the finals, whoever wins that match up against Ohio, it's gonna be a pretty uphill battle.
Yeah.
Do you think
Yeah,
it'll be a sweep?
I don't know. I think I expect
Mayhaps.
the winner to take maybe like one map off Ohio. At the very least. I mean, just watching the Kraken Skulls versus Ohio game, I was just like, I was literally sitting in my chair screaming like, "Please look at Steven! Like,
Yes,
don't
no,
leave me alone."
Bro,
that's what I
when
said the whole cast, dude.
no,
Yeah.
no lie. When I watched Reinhardt on Well, I was like, it's done. It's over. No. Don't play Reinhardt on Well. Don't do it.
Oh,
I played Reinhardt for 233 hours. I don't play him on the mat. Don't do it.
yeah,
It's a
no.
throw. It's an Uber throw.
Yeah, like, and then I'm not gonna lie, I kind of died when on Ohio's last push on Kings Row against Kraken Skulls, they pulled out the Sim Bastion.
Yeah, no.
I
That
was
was
like,
dirty.
no.
That was dirty.
So disrespectful.
I was like, no, they
Feels
can't
like
win
cheese.
this. They can't win this.
Like, just run ball hog. We know you're going to take the point. There's no need for this. Like,
Right?
they just wanted to get out of there. They wanted to get to the goats map as soon as possible.
Oh my god, yeah. And the goats map went about as well as I expected. I mean, Ohio is such a coordinated team that like I just knew like I've never seen them play goats before, but if they do, like they're they're gonna be really good just because they're so coordinated.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, so Money Snaps, I'm curious, one, your reaction to Baby Bun's thoughts on your guys'
Yeah.
match against Ohio, and
Uh,
your general reaction to playoffs and predictions.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was definitely an uphill battle the whole way. It was. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say that we like, I mean, yes, we had a chance in that way that everybody has a chance, but it was gonna be definitely like so we're gonna need a lot of luck and a lot of miracle stuff to happen for us. Fortunately, it just didn't happen that night. They did have to, yeah. I mean, they pulled some dirty plays with that Bastion Sim. It was kind of that thing of like when that happened, it's like, all right, we lose. Like there's like they needed one tick, and yeah, they got it. Like it's theirs. Or I don't know if they needed exactly only one tick, but it was just it was a hard, definitely
One
a
and a
crushing
half, I
defeat.
think.
Yeah, it was a crushing defeat right there. As I had said earlier, I mean, we could have gotten that point A if you didn't have Seaman just pop off like crazy on us at the very end there, and yeah, it was a solid game. I mean, I'm gonna be rooting for Happy Squids for sure. As I said, they're kind of been a lot of team players for us and helping us out at times. So I'm definitely always gonna root for them. That being said, Dumpster Divers is, I mean, we've had a hard game against them. They've defeated us as well, and it'll be interesting to see that matchup. I think it will be a close one. So maybe too close to call right now. I do think Happy Squids is coming out on top still. And then, yeah, against Ohio, what's left to be said? They are a composed team. And I think whatever the key is going to be, it's going to be disrupting, like trying to throw a wrench in whatever plan they have, because it's I don't know how you're supposed to beat just like a machine like that, you know.
For sure, for sure.
But yeah, and then what was the second? Oh, it was there was another question in there too, was that correct?
Was there?
No, you covered it.
All right, cool. Yeah,
I do
I
have
didn't even know.
I
Yeah,
do
go
have
ahead.
one last question just to end it on a fun note.
Yeah.
So when the 3-0 happens, the match was already over. You guys knew that. Whose idea was it to play that fourth Goats show map? Was it just to have some like a last hurrah for the season?
I think it was definitely that. I definitely remember Blue Boxer yelling the loudest, so I want to say it was her plan. But we all started yelling it at the same time, and then I think Dolphin just went ahead and wrote them and was like, "You guys want to do a Goats fourth map?" And it happened. It was pretty fun. Yeah, it was like we know that neither of us was really. I shouldn't say we weren't exactly playing to win. We were just definitely playing to have some fun. Hence, I think also why Ohio ended up pushing us into third point spawn before they ever even caught second point. Like they just like pushed straight through us to spawn, and we fought it out without the cart ever moving for a minute. So that was pretty fun. Once again, it was a way to unwind. It was definitely all of our hearts were in the game, so getting crushed is a little bit disheartening, of course, but it was a great way to kind of giggle it off and have just some good old fashioned fun and remind ourselves that we play video games because they're fun. Like, yeah, it's a competition, but it's a competition that should still be kind of fun, I think. So it was a lot of laughter overall through the game.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Any last questions for our miners peeps here?
Yeah.
I do
Cool.
I do
Okay.
have to at least say, Baby Bun, when we were watching your game, you should know we were all screaming when you got the 4 or 5K with May that ended with you charging a ulting soldier and just 1v1ing him. We were like, go, go. And then you like perfectly got a headshot while dropping off from the high ground. It was nasty, man. So we were screaming. We thought Kings Row was for sure going to be y'all's and it was going to make it a 2-2. It was disheartening to see it not happen.
Yeah, dude, thanks. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I was screaming too. Just ask my team. I was like, get off my point.
Yeah, it was definitely yours there. And then yeah,
Dad
like
76.
yeah, the Zarya had the perfect, like, everybody off the point far enough, and then unfortunately the Orisa survived and kept the point alive enough so you can win. Yeah, it was a close Kings Row match, and we were rooting for you the whole way.
Thanks, man.
I mean, a
Like,
little bit because we didn't want to play Ohio's, but still.
no, I feel that. I feel that, dude. No, yeah, thanks, man. Like, your team is, really wonderful, and I enjoy every match that I play against you guys. So, like, hope to see you there again.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, you too, man.
Nice. Love to hear the love between teams.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, thank you guys for joining us for the interviews here. We always appreciate you guys coming on.
No problem. Thanks a lot for having us.
Hell yeah.
Cool. We are now going to be moving on to majors and having a little chat about what is going on over there, because it's quite a bit.
A bunch of upsets if you
All
compare
right.
it to the
Well,
bracket.
Yeah,
I'll
two
get the
upsets.
I'll get the clown nose out now. I thought Otters might get upset in round one, and now they're in the finals. So I'll admit,
You
underestimated
see,
them.
I thought that too.
It's not really like clown. That just it's kind of what a lot of people expected. But we're gonna get into what happened with that upset in a second. Let's start out with Otter Oxide King's Throw. I thought this was gonna be really close. You thought it could be an upset. But it ended up with being 3-1. King's Throw put up a good fight, but it wasn't quite enough there.
Yeah, but this might sound like an excuse, but you see, we were playing with an ill
Simple.
player,
This
and
is
we didn't have our off tank player, and we still managed to play a close game. So I'm kind of proud of us.
okay. We'll get into talking to you for the interviews, but yeah, that's an interesting one. But looking at the other game, that was a quarterfinals game. Go Again versus Burn, which was an upset. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this Hyper Knight.
Okay, so like, I really thought that after barely narrowly sliding into playoffs, that Go Again versus Burn was just kind of a wash. That it was just pretty much over, and then Go Again comes out, and even though they didn't make it past the second round, I think it's incredible that they even made it to that round to begin with. And I'm a little surprised. I'm definitely very surprised that it got, it was a 3-0. So like I thought it would have at least been closer, but either way, it's still very impressive that they were able to get to that degree.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna want to hear some stuff about that from Chunk later in our interview, and kind of hear what happened there. But going on from that match, Go Again won. Some people were speculating about another upset happening versus No, but that very much did not happen. They got pretty shut down by No in their semifinals match. Because I was able to catch that, and it got kind of close on the 2CP, but for the most part, No had a really good showing against Go Again. So yeah, I'm not sure if there's anything more to say there. But yeah, so the big one to talk about in retrospective is the Otter Oxide Storybook Villains match.
Oh my gosh, that one was a big upset, and I produced this match, so I can kind of talk about it.
Yeah, I can give some insider info because I was able to talk to the team
All right,
right
go ahead. You go
but-
first.
Well, no, I want to hear the just perspective from watching it from Hyper Knight and Silent first.
Yeah, so I originally had thought Storybook Villains were likely to go all the way, based on my own experiences playing against both teams and getting utterly dismantled by Storybook Villains. I thought that they were going to find a way to pull out the victory, but they just never materialized for them. They seem to have no answer for the Pharaoh, and it was just very interesting to see, especially because our team had a lot of struggles with Pharah play, and I was surprised to see that Storybook Villains, a team that utterly destroyed us, had pretty much the same exact problem that we had the entire season.
Yeah. Silent, do you have thoughts there?
Well, this was kind of fresh in my mind because it just happened yesterday. But I will say like two key points I can distinctly remember from observing producing that match. Uh, First one, the casters said Storybook Villains won before the past times they faced off against Otter Oxide. I'm not sure if we
Yeah.
can verify this or not.
Yeah, I casted all of those matches.
And you remember
Um,
distinctly.
Yeah, the last one was like decently close, but it still was SPV coming out on top. The previous two matchups had been stomps from SPV. So,
And this one was a stomp, but in the other direction.
yeah. Um, yeah, so I was able to pop in and talk to the team afterwards, just 'cause I know some of the players there. And essentially what I hear happened was they're not good at control maps, and they lost that first control map, and the
Control was
mentality
2-1.
yeah, the mentality just got kind of destroyed from there, and they tilted a bit, but they're kind of glad they lost in a way, because it was a learning moment for them. So they're not taking it too hard. They're just going to take a break and be moving on to where they're going next, which I believe is DGNA.
All right. One other point I wanted to make on that match. Oh my gosh, I have to highlight Jaeger.
Yeah.
So like he played Farah on Ilios, which was I guess kind of expected, kind of standard. That seemed to be his main hero pick. And then out of when we went to Anubis, one of the casters made a bold prediction, Anna Junkrat. And when Junkrat was picked, he lost his mind. He went full ham on the broadcast. You guys can watch it later if you want. But yeah, Jaeger made Junkrat work. And that was a really solid full hold.
Yeah, Jaeger was definitely doing a really good job, and really showing off on the side of Otters.
Yeah,
But yeah,
showed his
so
flexibility. I think he was flexing.
yeah, pretty much. I remember there's some points where I was like, he's totally feeding here, but then he would live and get like a 4K. So yeah, he was just like dominating, and SPV just didn't really wasn't able to answer to it. But yeah, so it's kind of what we have for the retrospective. Looking into predictions, we have No versus Otter Oxide. What are you thinking is going to happen here, Hyper Knight?
Okay, so I mean, in face of these two, looking at I doubted Otter Oxide before, but I mean, realistically, their showing against SPV shows that they, have a very good shot here. But No has also been really good all season. So I don't know. I expect a really close matchup either way, and I think either team could really just come out on top. I'm not sure which way to favor, because both teams have had very dominant showings recently.
Yeah, I
I
personally am kind of leaning No, but with the upset against SVV, Otter Oxide definitely is not looking out of that fight.
I'm a little more worried about No than I am Otters at the moment, because stage 3, No didn't exactly have a great record. I think they weren't they weren't worried too much about the regular season record. And then they only had to go against the 6th seed and Go Again. Not to say that, Go Again is a bad team or anything, but they might not have been as challenged as if they were going against, a higher seeded team.
I was about to ask, because they had that first round bye, do you think they haven't really had a chance to show or been tested by stronger teams, right?
Yeah, they haven't been tested so far in championships.
So that's what I'm worried about. But otherwise, I mean, I think it should still be a good match, whichever way
Yeah,
it turns out.
this is a hot take for me. I do not think it'll be a 4-0 for sure.
I don't think that's a hot take. I think no matter what happens, it will not be a 4-0 in either direction.
Yeah.
Didn't Otters win? They won minors last season, right? But that was a different team, wasn't it?
Yeah, there's I think 2 players that are still on the roster. Everyone else is different, so I don't really view it as the same team. Personally, SBV had more of those Otters players. So
So was that a grudge? Oh, so was that semi kind of a grudge match?
Otter Oxide SBV, yeah, totally. It's why I loved casting it in the past. It's such a grudge match. Um, yeah, it is a grudge match, but yeah, I'm not gonna get into that anymore. Um, but yeah, Otter Oxide came out on top this time. They're moving on to championships. So I think they've put that out of their mind now. But yes, we are now going to be moving over to our interviews. Hello, Simple from King's Throw and Chunk from Burn. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing good. How are you guys tonight?
Pretty good.
I'm doing solid.
But yeah, so we're gonna be asking some pretty similar questions, as minors. So let's start off with, or Chunk, I have a more individual question for you. 'Cause you guys lost that upset versus Go Again. I'd love to hear kind of your interpretation of why that happened.
Yeah, that is the $1,000,000 question, isn't it? It was a bit of an interesting week for us leading up to that. We didn't really get to scrim as much as we wanted, and then on the night of the match, we actually lost our main tank Varian, who had been so key for our big turnaround after stage one. Uh, we lost him. He didn't. His power source on his computer wasn't working right,
Ooh.
so we ended up playing without our main tank. With the lineup that we had been scrimming for about a month and a half at that point. We had to change things up at the last second, and we really weren't prepared for that. The other thing, though, and this is, I think even more important, we weren't ready for how well Go Again ended up playing. We really kind of saw them sort of as maybe an easier map, or an easier match, and it, we overlooked them a little bit. They came in with a new, I guess, revamped roster, and they looked really good. They put in a lot of work to get better. Shout out to Joey on the Zen. He popped off. And yeah, they just looked really good against us. We weren't ready for such a strong showing from them.
To be fair, I think like it was Go Again was the 6th seed, and I think majority like a clear majority of the community predicted you guys to take over Go Again. So when you lost, was there any kind of like feelings coming into that?
I can't speak for my whole team, but when we lost, we were definitely disappointed, I think, in ourselves. But our head coach, Mr. Crit, who has been phenomenal for us all season, he really was able to hold us together after that loss and make sure that, we weren't too down on ourselves because we did start out 1-5 in stage one after an 0-5 start. So it was a huge turnaround this season for us to make playoffs, to actually be favored in our first round playoff matchup. So I would say there's a lot of positives for us this season that kind of outweighed even such a negative end like that.
Nice. But yeah, so moving on to our more general questions for both players here. Um, Starting off with Simple. Well, and Chuck kind of already answered this a bit, but how well do you think your team did this season?
Oh, we did terrible, dude. I'm not gonna lie. We went 1-5 in the first two stages. We were the I think we were the only losers to the first stage burn. No offense to Chunk, but that team was kind of terrible because like both of us went like really bad, like 1-5, I believe. We got reverse swept by burn. Stage two, I can't remember who we beat. I think it was another like almost winless team. In stage three, we actually got to pull out a new player who couldn't play for the first two stages, and I think that's when we started having a somewhat decent turnaround. But kind of like the Washington Justice, just because one team does good in one stage doesn't mean that they're going to be like gods forever.
Yeah, not as positive as Burn or as Chuck had, but
You still made
I was like,
playoffs though, so that's
okay.
something.
Yeah.
Yes, I too am confused.
um, yeah. So, Burn, did you have anything else to add on? Kind of adding to how well do you think your team did this season?
I think we did really well in not getting down on ourselves. Like Simple said, we weren't looking great in that stage one. We were really playing meta that we weren't familiar with, talking about like that Reaper composition, the double shield, and it took us a while to, I'd say, learn all of those roles. A lot of us were playing characters we weren't used to playing or characters we haven't played in a long time. So once we were able to get that clicking, we really, I think, stepped into things in stage two and got moving forward in the right direction. I think the most important thing for our season was um, the fact that all of our players improved so much. Publicly we had Merge improve to GM. He improved so much that they kicked him right out of Outlet. Um, but we also had Mild hit GM, one of our support players, close to the end of the season near playoffs. We had Muzzy, our other support player, improve so much. Laseki, myself, Solnal, Varian, Bishop. Everybody had a lot of improvement. We had a great DPS line too of Doge and Lumbo who came in. They played awesome. Doge managed to hit Masters this season as well. So really just everybody improved, and I'd say that is a lot on each other for pushing ourselves, but also we had a really good coaching staff. We had Mr. Crit, who's been a phenomenal coach in Owlet for so long, and also we have Sacred End, who is probably a future Contenders player.
Nice. Cool. Sorry, I get spacey sometimes. Um, don't worry about it. I'm gonna ask to Simple first again. What are your takeaways from this season of Owlet, and what are your future plans as either an individual player or as a team?
Well, as an individual player, I'm gonna be taking a break from Overwatch or like competitive Overwatch, but I do know Kingstro plans on dominating the GGNA tournament coming up.
Ooh, I think you might be seeing some familiar faces over there.
I hope so. It'd be fun to play against some Owlet players.
Cool. And same question for you, Chunk.
hmm So at this point, a lot of us have climbed to different elos now. So the team is at a little bit of a crossroads, I'd say. We're not really sure where we're going to go from here. With different people stepping back from their roles. I've been into Apex recently. There's just a lot of different stuff going on right now. We're not really sure what we're going to do as a team, but we're all really good friends at this point, and we definitely don't want to stop playing video games together. So we will 100% still be together as Team Burn, doing something, whether it's just, screwing around as friends, or if it's in organized competition, in Overwatch, in another game. We're really unsure at this point.
Yeah, yeah, I understand. Like, you're like we can't necessarily stay together as a team, or it's a bit harder, but you want to keep hanging out.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody's really awesome on Burn. It's been such a fun environment.
That's always nice to hear. And now I'm curious. We'll just continue with you, Chunk. Reaction to championships, and what are your personal predictions for No versus Otter Oxide?
Well, I think Overwatch is a team game, of course, but I have to predict that the best player is going to come away with the win. Can't pick against the Owlet MVP, Siaguli, and CO is absolutely a feeder, but will absolutely manage to lead his team to victory. Otters 4-0 over No. I'm calling it.
A 4-0.
Bold
That's
prediction.
really ambitious.
Misfit saying his first bit during the major section.
What am I supposed to say here? I don't know anything about these people.
Clip that.
Oh, so with that bold prediction, Simple. Do you have counter thoughts, similar thoughts, going
Uh,
into this?
I believe that Chunk is completely wrong and No will 4-0 Otter Oxide.
Bold takes from
Wow.
both sides today.
This is a hot desk.
I
The
always
only
like
way, the only way to really settle this though is with a single match, one map on Busan downtown. Goats capture the flag.
You're right. That's
no.
Oh,
1v1,
of
dude.
course.
Oh no.
1v1 goats.
goats.
That's
I don't think that's
Just
how that
control 6
works.
computers
There's
at
actually
once,
no.
dude.
No, there is a workshop mode where you can combine 6 people into one person and have like one character model controlling
of
6
course.
players and their abilities. So technically, it could be one character versus one character, and it would be 6v6, and it would be all the characters from Goats.
there we go.
Aha! Loopholes.
The future of Owlet.
I hope we
Future
get that as a
Overwatch.
bonus match for the no
Maybe
honors game.
postseason All Stars. Simple, I did want to ask, like, going back to that talk about predictions, you say 4-0 to no. Is that because of, like, based on your experience playing against Otter Oxide?
Yeah, I feel they aren't as dominant as they once were. Like, they obviously did 3-0 Storybook, but I think that was more just Storybook messing up more than Otter Oxide. Am I allowed to say that? It's not toxic.
No, you're
allowed to say
good.
that. It's
You're
an
good.
opinion. And also, our interviews aren't
Toxicity is
on
encouraged.
big restrictions.
I will agree on that. Like, I will agree on saying, I think, as the observer, I did think SBV seemed a little unprepared, especially on that Junkrat.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely don't disagree with that sentiment. But yeah, do we have any more questions for our 2 lovely interviewees here?
You both say 4-0 against each other. Do you want to make a bet on it?
I don't know, Simple. Do you want to make a bet on it?
I'll bet my
Yes.
kneecaps.
Like, that'll work.
Dude, also
Nah,
my
it's
ears
just
together
messing.
if
I'm
you
just
were-
messing around. But if you want to
I'll
make
do
a
one
bet
of my
on stream,
kidneys against one of your kidneys. Those things go
Ooh,
for a
I
lot.
like where this is going.
That's funny. You assume I have a kidney.
Oh,
Leak Simple has no kidneys.
I no longer like where this is
Yeah.
going.
Okay,
this
let's stop
escalated
discussing
quickly.
the
Yeah, let's end this.
kidneys and kneecaps.
Let's end
Um,
this.
Yeah, I think we're gonna wrap up. Thank you guys for joining us as interviewees tonight. I always love to hear, especially after losing. It's kind of hard to come back sometimes, but I appreciate you guys being here.
Kudos for kudos for responding and coming back.
I appreciate you guys having
Yes.
us. Thank you so much.
I mean, you know, it
I
always could have been
appreciate it
worse.
too.
Could have always just not made playoffs. Oof.
I'm sorry, Hyper Knight. But yeah, thank you guys everyone for showing up in the chat. I do have one last thing to plug. We as the admin team are always looking for ways to improve the tournament. So I'm gonna toss the feedback form in the chat there. And if you have thoughts, we would love to hear them so that we can make the tournament even better next season. But yeah, thank you guys for showing up, and make sure to tune in to the remaining games.
The Dumpster Divers Happy Squids, I believe, is Monday at 9 Eastern.
Yes.
So there
Yeah,
you go.
obviously not scheduled yet.
Yeah, I think the finals will probably be on different weeks.
But yeah, so that's all we have for you tonight.